3 weeks before I was supposed to leave for college, I discovered something that made my entire world stop. Not slow down, not wobble, stop. For 18 years, my grandmother had quietly saved money for my future. Every single month. Birthdays, Christmas, even during the years when she was living mostly on her pension. By the time I turned 18, that account held $187,000. It was supposed to be my college fund, my way out of our small town, my chance at a different life. But when I called the bank to confirm the transfer, the woman on the phone went quiet. Then she said something I will never forget. "Miss Carter, the current balance on that account is $214. $214 out of $187,000. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake, but it wasn't. The withdrawals had been happening for 8 months, and every single one of them had been authorized by the custodian on the account. My father. I walked into the living room, holding my phone, my hands shaking. My mother didn't even look surprised. She simply turned down the TV, looked me straight in the eyes, and said something that still echoes in my head. "We used the money for your brother's house." Then she shrugged. "He needed it more than you." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, trying to understand how the two people who were supposed to protect my future had quietly erased it. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was what my mother said next. Something that would have changed everything. Because when I called my grandmother that night and told her what had happened, she didn't cry. She didn't panic. Instead, she said 5 calm words. "Good. I was waiting for this." What she did after that didn't just start a lawsuit. It didn't just tear our family apart. It put my parents on the evening news and made sure our entire town learned exactly what they had done. But before I tell you how a quiet, 74-year-old grandmother managed to turn my parents' secret into the biggest story our town had seen in decades, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Stories like this take time to tell. And if life pulls you away, halfway through subscribing helps you find your way back. And if you enjoy real stories about family justice and the moments that change a life forever, there are many more waiting for you here. Now let me ask you something. If the people you trusted most took everything that was meant for your future and then told you it was for the good of the family, would you stay quiet or would you fight back? Even if it meant exposing them to the entire town. Because that's exactly the choice I had to make. And the truth is, what happened next is something my parents never saw coming. Not even close. When people imagine unfair families, they usually picture something dramatic. Loud fights, shouting across dinner tables, doors slamming. That wasn't my house. In my house, everything was quiet. Quiet favoritism, quiet disappointment, quiet reminders that my older brother somehow mattered more than I did. We lived in a small town in Ohio called Fairwood, about 11,000 people, the kind of place where the grocery cashier knows your birthday and the mailman asks how your finals went. Our house sat on the corner of Pine and Maple, a 1-story brick home with a crooked basketball hoop in the driveway and a porch swing my dad promised to fix every summer. 4 of us lived there. My mother, Linda Carter, my father, David Carter, my older brother, Jason, and me, Emily Carter. On the surface, we looked like a normal American family, but inside the house, there was a system, an invisible ranking system. Jason was the center of everything. I was the background. Now, Jason wasn't a bad person. Not exactly. He was charming, funny, the kind of guy who could walk into a room and make everyone laugh within 5 minutes. Teachers liked him. Neighbors liked him. My mom absolutely adored him. But Jason had one problem. He never followed through on anything. He enrolled at State University after high school and dropped out before the end of his 2nd year. My mom threw him a welcome home dinner. She called it a fresh start. Jason tried working at a car dealership. That lasted 3 months. According to my mom, the manager was jealous of his natural talent. Then he tried bartending, then graphic design, then something he called online consulting, which mostly meant sitting in the living room, scrolling on his laptop, while my mom told relatives he was working on big projects. Every time something fell apart for Jason, my mom had an explanation. The job wasn't right for him. The boss didn't understand him. The opportunity wasn't worthy of his potential. And every time something went well for me, my mom had an explanation for that too. I worked hard because I had to, not because it meant anything. I was the quiet kid, the responsible one. Honor roll every semester, debate team captain, part-time job at a local coffee shop. Starting when I was 15, I paid for my own textbooks, my own gas, most of my clothes, not because anyone asked me to, but because I learned early on not to expect much. There's one moment I remember clearly. Junior year of high school. I came home with my report card, straight A's again. I walked into the kitchen where my mom was talking on the phone with Jason, who had just quit another job. She waved me towards the counter without looking up. "Just leave it there, honey." I set the report card down. 3 days later, it was still sitting there, unopened. My dad noticed it once when he was making coffee. He picked it up, glanced at it for a second, then put it right back down. Dad wasn't cruel. He was just quiet. The kind of quiet that lets other things happen. The only person who ever made me feel like I mattered was my grandmother. Margaret Carter. Everyone in town called her Mrs. Carter because she had taught 3rd grade for almost 30 years. But to me, she was just Grandma. She lived across town in a little white house with blue shutters, in a porch full of plants she somehow kept alive year after year. When I was 10 years old, she sat me down at her kitchen table one afternoon with 2 glasses of lemonade. And she told me something I never forgot. "Emily," she said gently, "every month I put a little money aside for you." I remember blinking at her. "For what?" "For your future." She smiled the way teachers do when they're explaining something important. "For college. For whatever dreams you decide to follow." At the time, I didn't think much about it. I was 10. College felt like something that happened to other people. But as the years passed, Grandma kept mentioning it. Not in a bragging way, just small reminders. A birthday card with a note. Added another deposit today. A Christmas envelope. Your future fund is growing nicely. By the time I was in high school, I understood what she had done. Month after month, year after year, she had been building something for me. A safety net. A door out of our little town if I wanted it. And I believed completely that the money would be there waiting when I graduated. Because my grandmother was the kind of person who never broke promises. What I didn't know, what I couldn't possibly have known, was that while she was still making deposits into that account, someone else had already started taking money out. Quietly, carefully, month after month. And by the time I finally called the bank that summer, almost every dollar my grandmother had saved over 18 years was already gone. 3 weeks before I was supposed to move into my college dorm, my life still felt perfectly organized. I had spreadsheets, deadlines, checklists, the kind of careful planning that comes from spending your whole life trying not to be a burden to anyone. My acceptance letter sat pinned to the corkboard above my desk. Midwest State University, 4 hours away from Fairwood, far enough to build my own life, close enough that my grandmother could still visit on weekends if she wanted. The housing deposit had already been paid using money I saved from the coffee shop. My meal plan was selected. My class schedule was finalized. All that remained was one final step: tuition. That morning, I sat at the kitchen counter with my laptop open and a notebook beside me. The instructions from the university were simple. Confirm the balance of the college fund. Authorize the transfer. Done. A routine phone call, one I had imagined many times over the years. The woman at the bank answered with a calm, professional voice. "Good morning, First National Bank. How may I assist you?" I explained that I needed to confirm the balance of a custodial account. She asked for my name, my birthday, the last 4 digits of my social security number. Then she asked me to hold for a moment while she pulled up the file. I remember staring at the kitchen window while I waited. Jason's truck was parked in the driveway, a brand new pickup he had bought a few weeks earlier. My mom had told everyone it was a fantastic deal from a friend. At the time, I didn't think twice about it. Then the woman on the phone came back, but her voice sounded different, quieter. Miss Carter. Yes, there was a pause. Not the kind where someone is typing, the kind where someone is deciding how to deliver bad news. I'm showing a current balance on the account of $214. For a moment, I thought she had said the wrong number. I'm sorry, I said, laughing nervously. The account should have around $187,000. Another pause, more keyboard clicks. Then she spoke again. I'm looking at the transaction history now. My chest felt suddenly tight. There have been multiple withdrawals over the past 8 months, she continued carefully. Amounts ranging between $9,000 and $15,000 per transaction. My stomach dropped. That can't be right, I said. Those withdrawals were authorized by the custodian on the account, she added. And the custodian listed here is David Carter, my father. I didn't say anything after that. The refrigerator hummed softly behind me. Outside, a dog barked, somewhere down the street. The world kept moving. But inside my chest, everything had gone completely still. $214 out of $187,000. 8 months of withdrawals. My father's signature. I thanked the woman for her help. I hung up the phone. Then I stood up slowly and walked into the living room. My mother was sitting on the couch, watching one of those home renovation shows she loved. A couple was arguing about kitchen cabinets. My mom was sipping iced tea like it was any other afternoon. Mom, I said. She muted the television. Yes, I swallowed. Where is my college fund? She didn't look confused. She didn't look surprised. If anything, she looked slightly annoyed that the show had been interrupted. We used it, she said. Used it, just like that. For what I asked. She set the remote down on the coffee table. For your brother's house. The room felt suddenly smaller. That was my money, I said quietly. My grandmother saved that for me. My mom sighed, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. Emily families share resources. That was a custodial account, and your father was the custodian, she replied calmly. That means, legally, he could make decisions about how the money was used. My hands were shaking now. You took $187,000 from me. She stood up and walked closer. Her voice softened slightly, but there was no guilt in it. Jason needed stability, she said. He needed a real opportunity. And I didn't, I asked. She tilted her head, studying me. You'll figure things out, she said. You always do. Then, she delivered the sentence that would echo in my mind for months afterward. Your brother carries more responsibility in this family than you do. The words landed like stones. I stood there, staring at her, trying to understand how the person who had raised me could say something like that so easily. Then she picked up the remote again, unmuted the television, and turned back to the show. As if nothing important had just happened, I walked down the hallway to my bedroom, closed the door, sat on the edge of my bed, and stared at my phone. There were only $800 in my checking account. My tuition deposit alone was $5,000. Without that payment, the university would cancel my enrollment. No enrollment, no scholarship review, no dorm room, no college. Everything I had worked toward for years would disappear. All because the people I trusted most had decided my future was optional. I could go back to the living room, argue, beg, plead with my parents to fix what they had done. But deep down, I already knew how that conversation would end. Instead, I opened my contacts and scrolled to one name, Grandma. My thumb hovered over the call button because I knew something important. Once I told her the truth, nothing in our family would ever be the same again. My grandmother answered on the second ring. She always did. Emily, sweetheart, she said warmly. Everything all right? For a second, I almost lied. Almost said everything was fine. Because that's what I had done my entire life. Keep the peace. Don't cause trouble. Don't make things harder for anyone else. But something inside of me had finally cracked. Grandma, I said quietly, I called the bank today. There was a short pause. What did they say? I took a breath. Then I told her everything. The balance, the withdrawals, the custodian's signature, my father's name, and finally, what my mother had admitted. that the money had been used to buy Jason a house. When I finished speaking, there was silence on the other end of the line. Not shocked silence, not confused silence. It was the kind of silence that comes from someone thinking very carefully. Finally, she spoke. They took all of it? Yes. Over 8 months? Yes. And your father signed the withdrawals? Yes. Another pause. Then she said something that made me sit up straighter on the bed. Good. I blinked. Good. Yes, she said calmly. Now we know. Now we know. I didn't understand what she meant. Emily, she continued gently. I want you to come to my house tomorrow morning. Okay. 8 o'clock. Bring every envelope I've ever mailed you. Every bank statement. Every document you have. My stomach tightened. Grandma, what are you thinking? She didn't raise her voice. She didn't sound angry. But there was a steel edge in her tone I had never heard before. I'm thinking, she said slowly, that someone in this family forgot that money belonged to you. And I'm thinking we're going to remind them. The next morning, I drove across town to her house. The little white cottage on Maple Street looked exactly the same as it always had. Blue shutters, porch swing, wind chimes moving gently in the morning breeze. But when I stepped inside, something felt different. Grandma was already sitting at the kitchen table. 3 thick blue folders were laid out neatly in front of her. Sit down, she said. I pulled out the chair across from her. What's all this? Instead of answering, she slid the first folder toward me. Inside was a stack of documents. The very first page made my breath catch. Uniform transfers to Minors Act. Account opening paperwork. My name, Emily Carter, beneficiary. Custodian David Carter. Account established the month I was born. I turned the page, then another. Annual statements, year after year. 18 years of deposits. $500 here, $700 there. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But always steady, always consistent. Grandma watched me quietly. I requested copies every January, she said, from the bank. For 18 years. I looked up at her. You kept all of this. She nodded. I love your mother, she said gently. But I have never trusted your mother with money. The words hung in the air between us. She opened the second folder. More statements. Every deposit recorded. Every balance growing larger year after year. Then she opened the third folder. This one only had a few pages. The most recent statements. The ones showing the withdrawals. $9,000, $12,000, $15,000. Month after month. Until the balance reached $214. Grandma tapped the paper lightly. This account, she said calmly, was established under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. That means the money legally belonged to you from the moment it was deposited. But Dad was the custodian, I said quietly. Yes, she replied. That means he had a fiduciary responsibility to manage it for your benefit. She leaned back slightly in her chair. Buying a house for your brother is not for your benefit. My chest tightened. What does that mean? It means, she said simply, that what they did is illegal. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Grandma stood up. That will be Margaret. Margaret, our lawyer. A few moments later, a tall woman in a navy blazer stepped into the kitchen, carrying a leather briefcase. She shook my hand firmly. Emily Carter, she said. I've heard a lot about you. She sat down at the table and began reviewing the documents, page after page, statement after statement. 20 minutes passed in silence, except for the quiet sound of paper turning. Finally, she removed her reading glasses and looked directly at me. This case is very clear, she said. The funds in that account legally belong to you. And withdrawing $187,000 for someone else's property, she paused for a moment. Is felony theft. The word felony felt heavy in the room. Grandma folded her hands calmly. What are Emily's options? She asked. The lawyer spoke without hesitation. Civil, restitution, and criminal charges. My heart started pounding. Criminal charges. Against my parents. The lawyer looked at me carefully. You don't have to decide right now, she said. But the sooner action is taken, the better. Grandma turned toward me. She didn't pressure me. She didn't tell me what to do. She simply waited. For the first time in my life, the decision was mine. I took a deep breath. Both, I said quietly. The lawyer nodded. I'll begin the paperwork immediately. I thought that was the end of it. A lawsuit. A legal battle, maybe months in court. But as the lawyer packed her briefcase and left the house, my grandmother picked up her phone and started scrolling through her contacts. What are you doing? I asked. She looked at me over her glasses, calling an old student of mine. Who? Karen Avery. The name sounded vaguely familiar. She's a reporter for Channel 7 News now, Grandma said calmly. My stomach dropped. You're calling the news. Grandma set the phone down on the table and looked directly at me. Emily, she said quietly, your mother has spent 40 years controlling the story in this town. She picked up the phone again, but this time, she dialed the number. Everyone is going to hear the truth. The news crew arrived 2 days later. I remember the sound of their van pulling up outside my grandmother's house early that Wednesday morning. It was strange seeing a television station parked on Maple Street. Fairwood wasn't the kind of town that made the news. The biggest headline we usually had was a high school football win or a charity bake sale. But that morning, the Channel 7 van sat in front of my grandmother's house like something out of a movie. Karen Avery stepped out first. She was in her early 40s, sharp eyes, calm smile. When my grandmother opened the door, Karen laughed softly. Mrs. Carter, she said warmly, it's been 20 years. You still spell necessary wrong, Grandma asked. Karen grinned. Sometimes. Well, Grandma replied, stepping aside to let her in today. All you need to do is listen. They sat at the same kitchen table where we had reviewed the documents. The blue folders were already waiting. The cameraman adjusted his equipment. The red recording light blinked on, and my grandmother began telling the story. Not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly. 18 years of saving. $500 here, $700 there. Month after month, from a teacher's salary and a small pension. Every deposit placed into a custodial account for her granddaughter. She laid out the documents one by one. Account opening paperwork, annual statements, the final balance sheet, $214. My daughter and her husband withdrew every dollar, she said clearly to the camera. They used the money to purchase a house for their son. The reporter glanced at me. And you didn't receive any of the money. I shook my head. Not a single dollar. Karen turned back to my grandmother. You're pursuing criminal charges against your own daughter. For a moment, the kitchen was completely silent. Then my grandmother folded her hands and answered. I love my daughter, she said gently. I will always love my daughter. Then her eyes hardened slightly. But I love justice more. The interview aired the next evening. 6 o'clock. Prime local news. I watched it, sitting on my grandmother's couch while she sat beside me in her armchair. The segment lasted 4 minutes. 4 minutes that changed everything. They showed aerial footage of Fairwood, the courthouse, the local bank. Then they showed my grandmother sitting at her kitchen table, explaining what had happened. The headline at the bottom of the screen read, Grandmother accuses daughter of stealing grandchild's $187,000 college fund. By 8 o'clock that night, the entire town had seen it, and the internet had exploded. The Fairwood Community Facebook page lit up like a fireworks show. Hundreds of comments, dozens of shares, people tagging neighbors, parents asking questions about custodial accounts. Some people were cautious. Maybe there's more to the story, but many others weren't. One comment appeared near the top of the page from someone I knew well. Mrs. Patterson, my high school English teacher. I taught Emily Carter for 4 years, she wrote. That young woman worked harder than any student I've ever had. If this story is true, she deserves justice. 80 likes in 20 minutes. Then the private messages started arriving. Neighbors, former teachers, parents from the school district. Most of them said the same thing. We believe you. But the message that shook me the most came from my brother. Jason called late that night. I stared at the phone for a long moment before answering. Emily, his voice sounded different, tired. Yeah, I just saw the news. There was a long pause. Is it true? He asked quietly. What part? That the money was yours. All of it. Another pause. Mom told me it was a loan, he said. A home equity line of credit. My stomach twisted. She showed me paperwork, he continued. Bank forms, Loan documents. I closed my eyes. There was no loan, I said softly. Silence filled the line. Then I heard him exhale slowly. Oh my God. I didn't know, Em, he said. I swear to you, for the first time in my life, I believed him. I know, I said. We sat there in silence for a few seconds. Finally, he spoke again. What do you want me to do? I thought about it. About the money. About the years of work. About the future that had nearly disappeared. I just want what belongs to me, I said. Jason didn't answer immediately, but when he did, his voice sounded steadier. I can't live in that house, he said quietly. What? If it was bought with your money, it's not mine. I sat up straighter on the couch. What are you saying? I'm selling it. The words hung in the air. The house closes next month if I list it now, he continued. The money will go straight into a restitution account. You don't have to do that, I said. Legally, I know I don't, he replied. But morally, he sighed. I've spent the last 2 nights staring at the ceiling of that house, and all I could think about was the fact that my little sister paid for it. My chest tightened. I can't be that person, he said. I won't. After we hung up, I sat quietly on the couch. My grandmother watched me carefully. Jason is selling the house, I told her. She nodded slowly. That's a good start. But she didn't look surprised, almost like she knew the story wasn't finished yet. And she was right, because the next morning, the district attorney's office officially opened an investigation. And when the prosecutors started looking at the bank records, they discovered something that made the case even worse. Much worse. The withdrawals from my account hadn't just been theft. They had been planned, carefully, deliberately, and someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to hide the truth. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Fairwood might have been a small town, but the evidence was not complicated. Bank records don't lie. Every withdrawal from the account had been documented. Every signature had been recorded. And when the district attorney's office began reviewing the paperwork, they noticed something strange. The withdrawals had been made carefully. $9,000, $12,000, $14,000. Always just below the thresholds that would trigger automatic bank alerts. Month after month, 8 months in total. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a strategy. And then the investigators found something else. The loan documents my mother had shown Jason, the supposed home equity line of credit that explained where the money came from. They weren't real. There was no loan number, no lender, no bank authorization. The forms had been fabricated. What had started as theft had now become fraud. Within 2 weeks, the district attorney formally filed charges. My parents were both named in the case. Felony misappropriation of custodial funds. The amount listed in the report was $187,000. The story returned to the news again that Thursday evening. Fairwood couple facing felony charges. After college fund investigation. Watching the broadcast felt surreal. Those were my parents. The same people who had packed my school lunches. The same people who had sat in the bleachers at my middle school graduation. Now their names were part of a criminal case. My father accepted responsibility first. Through his attorney, he approached the prosecutor with a plea agreement. He admitted that he had signed the withdrawals. He agreed to cooperate with the investigation. A few weeks later, he appeared in court wearing a gray suit that didn't quite fit. He stood before the judge and quietly said the words, "I accept responsibility." His charge was reduced to a misdemeanor in exchange for cooperation, 3 years probation, restitution payments, no prison time. My mother made a different choice. She fought everything. According to her attorney, the money had been used for the good of the family. According to her attorney, she had believed the custodian had legal authority. According to her attorney, the entire situation was a family misunderstanding. But the fabricated loan documents destroyed that argument. The judge looked through the evidence carefully, then delivered the decision. Felony theft, reduced sentencing in exchange for restitution and community service, 5 years probation, 200 hours of mandated service, a permanent felony on her record. My mother didn't say a word in court. Not to the judge, not to the prosecutor, not to me. She signed the paperwork, stood up, and walked out of the courtroom without looking back. The restitution process began immediately. Jason followed through on what he had promised. He sold the house. 6 weeks later, the sale closed. After fees and taxes, the final amount was $178,000. Every dollar was transferred directly into the legal restitution account. My parents were ordered to repay the remaining balance through monthly payments. But something else unexpected had already happened. 3 days after the first news story aired, my high school English teacher started a GoFundMe page. The title read simply, "Help Emily Carter Get to College." The original goal was $20,000. It reached that goal in 16 hours. By the end of the week, the total had passed $60,000. Small donations, $5, $20, $50, some anonymous, some with short messages. You deserve your future. Don't give up. I was the overlooked child too. Then another surprise arrived. A phone call from Midwest State University. A woman named Dr. Simmons from the admissions office spoke to me. "Emily," she said kindly, "we've been following your story." I held my breath. "We would like to offer you a full tuition scholarship." For a moment, I couldn't speak. 4 years, she continued, "based on your academic record and your perseverance." I hung up the phone and walked slowly into the kitchen where my grandmother was reading the newspaper. "I got it," I said. She looked up. "The scholarship." For a second, her expression didn't change. Then her chin trembled slightly. And the strongest woman I had ever known wiped a tear from her eye. "I always knew you would," she whispered. Life didn't magically become perfect after that. Fairwood is a small town. People remember things. My mother lost her part-time job at the floral shop. My father's electrical business slowed down. Neighbors stopped waving quite as often, but the town didn't turn cruel. People simply adjusted their understanding of who my parents really were. Jason moved into a small studio apartment across town. He picked up freelance design work. Every few days, he would send me a simple message. "How are classes? Did you find the library yet?" Our relationship wasn't the same as before, but it wasn't broken either. It was something new, something honest. 4 months later, I moved into my dorm at Midwest State. A small room, a wooden desk, a window overlooking the campus quad. For the first time in my life, my future felt like it actually belonged to me. But the story didn't end there, because 2 months after the court case was finished, I received a letter in the mail from my mother, and when I opened that envelope, I realized something that hurt more than everything that had happened before. There was still one word missing. From the outside, stories like this often look simple. Someone did something wrong. Justice followed. The victim moved on. But real life is rarely that neat. If you step back and look at this situation through the eyes of a family counselor or a social psychologist, what happened here wasn't just about money. The $187,000 was only the surface of the conflict. The deeper issue was something we see in many families, especially in small communities, where reputation and roles become fixed over time. Family hierarchy. In some households, one child becomes the hope, the golden child, the one the parents believe will carry the family's legacy forward. Another child, quietly, becomes the dependable one, the problem solver, the one who will figure things out. And sometimes, that quiet strength becomes an excuse. Parents begin to believe that the resilient child doesn't need protection, that they will adapt, that they will recover. But resilience should never be used as permission to take from someone. And that's the real lesson in Emily's story. For years, she believed that staying quiet was the right thing to do. She believed that patience, discipline, and responsibility would eventually earn recognition. But the moment she stopped accepting the injustice, everything changed. Not because she became cruel, not because she wanted revenge, but because she set a boundary. And boundaries in healthy psychology are not acts of betrayal. They are acts of self-respect. Her grandmother understood that. Margaret Carter did something very powerful that day at her kitchen table. She didn't simply fight for the money. She fought for the truth. She understood that silence protects the wrong person. And when truth finally enters the room, it changes the entire balance of power. The legal system handled the crime. The community responded with support. But the most important transformation happened inside Emily herself. She stopped waiting for permission to value her own future. And that is something any people, even well into adulthood, struggle to learn. If there is a lesson experts often repeat when studying family dynamics, it is this: you cannot control the choices other people make, not your parents, not your siblings, not even the people who raised you, but you can control the boundaries you build around your own life. And sometimes, protecting those boundaries comes at a cost. Emily lost the version of her family she thought she had. But in return, she gained something much more important: her independence, her future, and the quiet confidence that she will never again sit silently while someone takes what belongs to her. If this story made you reflect on your own family, your own boundaries, or the choices people sometimes make behind closed doors, take a moment to show your support for the channel. A simple like helps stories like this reach more people who might need to hear them. And if you enjoy thoughtful storytelling that explores real family dynamics, difficult decisions, and the moments that shape a life, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. There are many more stories like this one, and each of them carries a lesson worth thinking about. Now I'm curious about your perspective. If you were in Emily's position, and your parents had taken everything meant for your future, and even after the court case, after the truth came out, after the entire town knew what happened, they still never said the word sorry, would you forgive them? Or would you keep your distance and protect the life you've built? Take a moment and share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like this don't end when the video ends. Sometimes the most interesting part is the conversation that comes afterward.